five-star Lesotho Sun Roof of Africa Rally saw one of the world's toughest off-road events produce unprecedented results in both car and motorcycle categories. Once again, the event was characterized by unpredictable weather, and for many it was the toughest roof yet. Sit back and enjoy with us the real test of men and machinery in a program we call The Spirit of the Roof.
Maseru was warm and sunny, with clerk of the course Francis Tucker, who competed in the very first roof, sketching the spirit of the unique event.
The spirit of the roof is something which has been built over the years out of a respect by one person for another, who is prepared to undertake the almost impossible, take what can be enormous risks. The roof has produced the most appalling weather at various times, and this is all done normally in areas where there is virtually no habitation. People are on their own, and the spirit of the roof is where one's respect for the other person overcomes the wish possibly to beat him.
The roof this year drew 5 overseas riders in the bike category, with Bert von Zitzewitz joined by 1987 winner Jürgen Meyer, former world motocross champion Heinz Kindergartner, Austrian Johann Kaiser, and 21-year-old Dirk von Zitzewitz.
The attraction is unpredictability. I was hoping for mud and snow and things, and look, we've got heat and dust this year. But every year is a different race, and every year adds lots of adrenaline. I think it's more than a normal rally. It still has this business of trying to finish and beat the mountains, and there are all sorts of unexplained things about the roof that are different to other rallies.
Tradition rules that the Roof of Africa opens with a round-the-houser sprint along with a short dirt loop to decide starting positions for the main event. The high-tech space frame cars got proceedings underway, with the citizens of Maseru once again entering into the spirit of an annual happening that brings alive the rapidly growing city.
The Mets say that it's not going to rain, and I'm going to prove them wrong. I think it's going to rain. We've prepared for wet. I'm sure it's going to rain. Philip's hoping for rain. Alfie's hoping for rain. We're hoping not for rain, but the Roof of Africa, as I told you, that brings the rain.
There were some tense crews as the Buckies waited for their turn. But as Caroline pointed out, the major talking point was once again Lesotho's unpredictable weather. But what did the gods have in store for competitors this year?
We've come along thinking it's going to be dry. Some years it has shown that it is going to be wet, but I think this year it's looking dry, but with the clouds around us, we have got a chance that it's going to be wet again. And I think Bixie is saying it's going to be wet. I'll stand by that. And I think we have a very strong chance that we're going up into the cold, wet snow area again.
Pre-race favourite Milan, along with Springbok navigator Richard Leek, dominated the round-the-houses section. R.P. Reinecker and Lucas Dreyer in the BP Nissan had a great tussle, with Linton Draper and Pete Smith in a similar vehicle. Milan and Leek were comfortable winners of the opening section, with the top 10 showing an equal spread of Buckies and space frame cars. The 250 machines led the bikes away, with last year's winner Alfie Cox and Jeremy Davies, 2 riders on whom South African hopes rested.
Well, I'm in a bit of a situation where I've got to finish the Roof of Africa this year to win the championship, and also I won last year and I'd like to make it 2 in a row, but I think maybe winning the Roof of Africa might be worth more than just winning the championship, because it's such a prestigious race, you know.
Well, I just don't want to be too far off the pace. You know, the last day is what counts. As long as I'm in with the Oaks until Saturday, and whoever crosses that line at the end, that's it.
West German Bert von Zitzewitz also had high hopes of a good result.
Not so easy to say, because there are lots of strong guys, and I don't know how fast the African riders on these conditions. It's very dry and fast, and for me, I think it's easier than last year, and so I don't know, but I hope I can do well, and maybe in the first 3 at the end.
former world motocross champion Kenny Gardner came through to grab pole position, but for 200 championship leader Ralph Pitchford, there was an early hint of dented pride. Pitchford quickly got going again with progress of a stop-start nature for Nati Gerber on bike number 148. A heavy fall put Davies out of the top 10, with Willie Ireland, the first of the South African riders, ahead of Cox, Hilton Beattie and local hero Patrick Andrews. Malone and Leek, winners of the Roof in 1987, were the first competitors away as the second section of the event got off to an early start. Ahead lay Ramagoetse, with competitors scheduled to use the same route on Saturday. Section 3 was to be run in the reverse direction, with a fickle weather destined to force further changes. There was plenty of horsepower around, but this fellow decided to go back to basics before the event was over. There were many competitors who would agree he had made the right choice. Malone and Leek set a blistering early pace in the turbocharged 4x4 Toyota, but Klaus Degener was charged up and full of confidence.
The car is so well prepped this time that I really wouldn't know what could go wrong, so we're looking to a win in this event.
Rex Carolyn and Mike Pretorius, three-time winners this year, were sailing along steadily in the race co. Robin Yates and Kenny Skoltheimer, a previous Roof winner on two wheels, were also showing impressive early form in their race co. An early duel developed between Richard Schilling and Fred Levesque and Arpi Reinecker and Lucas Dreyer. Then Schilling and Levesque took a wrong turning, and this allowed the Nissan Bakkie to move ahead of the Chenoweth. A sandy riverbed posed a headache for Craig Draper and Mark Marais in the Nissan hardbody imported from America. As Draper and Marais sank further and further into the sand, Jack Spencer and Steve Vermaak were going round and round in circles, trying to get back onto the correct route. John Lambert and Roy Field then decided to join Draper and Marais in the sand trap. It was a case of another one bites the dust, with Clive Smith and the star editor Harvey Tyson taking the opportunity to pick up a couple of places in the larder. Roof veterans Smith and Tyson were later forced to withdraw with axle problems. A steady run was to bring Alfred van Vuren and Piet Pelser a class win in their Toyota, with the Vowles family effort destined to end with mechanical problems forcing out the pair. There were serious problems for Klaus Degener and John Angus, who arrived at the refuel point on three wheels after rolling down a cliff. Angus was forced to do a balancing act for 120 kilometers, but a frantic repair job saw the pair able to continue. The refuel point was a hive of activity, with anyone looking for any kind of job soon accommodated. Don Vale was having a good run in the imported GRE Spider and was 10th after the second racing section. But Vale was struggling with power steering problems, which made handling the car almost impossible. Vale was forced to call it a day, and power steering hassles also put an end to the challenge from the Vrucht brothers, Stratford and Dirk.
Power steering broke as we went round the corner, and the car just went straight and went down the mountain. Well, we'll recover the car, but it will be a hell of a shot to get it out there.
Well, I wish I could get it out of my blood, but it was the first event I competed in, and the adrenaline and that little butterfly in the tummy that I had so many years ago, I still have it right now.
Roof veteran Glenn Parker was joined by another stalwart, John Smith, both accompanied by their sons.
It's virtually the same type of buggy that I first drove 20 years ago. In 1968 I drove a low-lead buggy like this, and this is virtually the same vehicle.
Smith is a former Roof winner, and this year again won his class. Also in the field was yet another veteran in Harry Roscoe, who also ended up winning his class. Not so lucky were production vehicle champions Craig Hopkinson and Martin Spencer, who retired on Section 2 with mechanical problems. By contrast, Derek Pinnoy The bikers also made an early start to Section 2 and soon ran into problems. Many struggled to stay on the correct route and were constantly getting lost. To add to their problems, young children and animals in villages posed a constant danger, and many a rider had to take avoiding action. Emergency treatment.
De 20 kilometers to go plus 10 times. I was leading and then I took the wrong way and had to look and to wait for other riders and I was 6 and it was not so good.
Kenny Gardner was also going well, with the popular Austrian currently undergoing chemotherapy. In a gutsy performance, Kenny Gardner survived crashes and a physical pounding to eventually finish 4th overall. Behind the leading bunch, the powerful Jeremy Davies was threading his way through the field and was starting to look ominous. Davies was in plenty of pain after his day one crash, but was not alone in his misery. Not far behind Davies, local hero Patrick Andrews was also going well and was always in touch with the leaders. Early leader Cox, after repairing his puncture, was quickly making up time, and, as was to be expected, the bike category was starting to build towards an interesting climax. For some, it was not all plain sailing. Kevin Tebbett had some interesting moments on a new section of the course before Baboon's Pass, but still managed a cheery way for our cameraman. While Tebbett was trying to sort himself out, Davies picked his way through the rocks to gain another place in his charge through the field. Next to run into a spot of bother was Hilton Haywood. Some breathtaking scenery in the mountains of Lesotho is hardly compensation when you're having to manhandle a motorcycle rather than ride it. But perseverance pays off, and Haywood eventually finished 6th overall. Former motocrosser Warren Doyle and Kevin DuPont also found the going tough. Doyle held on to finish 10th overall, although DuPont was a non-finisher. Austrian Johann Kaiser, later to retire, found it even tougher, with the section providing for plenty of frustration on the rider's part. John Hodgson on bike 114 and Ronald Bailey chose the spot to get into an awful tangle. After a close encounter of a different kind, Hodgson went on to finish 11th overall, which was a tremendous performance on a 125 machine.